Welcome to the Toffee TV podcast. It's episode 10, I think it is. Me, Baz, joined by Andy. Ped is in the room, but he can't be arsed being on it, basically. He says he's tired, but he's also taking the technical role today because Billy, who normally does our sound, is running scared of Ped.
And you wouldn't trust Joe with a B in the bottom.
And Joe isn't around. So Ped took that role, and he took it rather
basically
quickly.
grabbed it, yeah, he grabbed the role, yeah, he's, what
I
can you say?
mean, the amount of times we've literally done this stuff with only two of us. So
yeah, it's supposed to be a team-man podcast. I'm quite disappointed in him, if I'm honest.
But listen.
He's right in front of me right now.
Exactly, he's like on the floor doing press-ups or something. So
he's the Roger Deakins, he's doing cinematography.
Let's just leave him be. Didn't want to be on it. Make of that what you will.
I wish I was Steve Hothersall.
He'd get on. He'd do it for Hothersall.
Yeah, he would do.
Wouldn't he? Anyway, let's move on from him, because from Hothersall I meant not Ped. Ped is being very selfish today. Now, listen, international break again.
Yeah,
I hate these international breaks.
Hate it.
I really do. But the second one, there's another one in a few weeks again, and it's nonsense. Really is nonsense. But we have to talk about it because...
Well, yeah, the main thing from this week's obviously England. There was two different performances, and obviously the outrageous and disgusting performance of the Bulgarian fans on, was it Monday or Tuesday night?
Monday night, yeah.
Yeah. So, I suppose England, you look at the way the Czech Republic game, bad, we just couldn't create many chances really from between, I think after we scored the penalty from Harry Kane until towards the end of the second half. I don't really like international football. I don't really like watching it. It's nothing like club football. I don't learn anything from it. But you come to the game on Monday, and I suppose it takes a much bigger perspective in the fact that a country in 2019 can still be so ignorant, and UEFA, even though they're doing speeches over the live mic, it's not doing nothing, are they, really, to help the situation? It was disgusting, really.
Yeah, it's quite simply shouldn't be happening in 2019. That's the fact of it, know, and I mean, me and Ped done a little bit about this on the live stuff that we do on Patreon, and it was what do you do with it. I was quite what did you make of what happened in terms of England's response to it? I personally thought he did the right thing, staying on and hammering them.
I think so, because they've just. I think a lot of the fans who were involved in the unfortunate chant, the disgusting chants and doing the far right symbols, they left because they were only there to do that. I think because I think one of the problems isn't. It's not really a problem, because I think we should highlight these things before the game. There was a big England players should walk off, and there was big press there, and then. They had people standing there with no respect, FIFA no respect things on them. They were just there to protest it and be and just cause anarchy, really. And in terms, unless it was threatening the safety, I'd say the players should stay on and put them to the sword and show the fans, what they're capable of, really. And
yeah, I mean, it's a difficult situation, because obviously we don't know how the England players feel.
No, we don't.
Particularly our black players who are subject to that, and it's difficult for us to try to pretend that we know what's going on. But as a nation and as a country that is one of the big nations in world football, how do we react to that? Like I said, I was happy we stayed on. I was delighted Raheem Sterling got a couple of goals. Delighted Marcus Rashford scored.
Yeah.
But I think the key thing here is if it was a planned protest? It was. And what's the deeper meanings behind that planned protest? Is it to show that they're racist, or is there a deeper meaning to the whole thing? Because obviously we've seen the Bulgarian Minister for Sport resign yesterday. There was calls for that. We've had the nonsense of their manager saying he didn't hear anything, which was bizarre.
Balikov, a very good player at one time as well. A bit sad that even, all those years of playing around Europe, he still can't, he's still trying to be denying it.
Yeah, denying that. We've had the people in the press room at Gareth Southgate. One of the reporters called him a liar and swore at him, and the cameraman swore at him on his way out when they tried to say that there was nothing went on, and England were like over-egging it.
Yeah, well, this is the thing with Calgary, and their chairman did this, didn't he? When they've been on numerous times in Italy where they've denied it ever happened. It was 3 people on the stand. That's why they haven't banned them. And come on, let's be honest here. it's a culture within the stands that they're obviously, they're not stamping out, and if it continues to happen, I work for an agency, and there's a player, they've got someone out there in Bulgaria, Brazilian lad called Evandro, and every week he plays in front of crowds who give him a lot of racist abuse, and he's obviously hoping to leave next summer, but it shouldn't happen, that a player's gone there to play football and he's scored 8 goals this season already and just gets dogs abuse for nothing just because of the colour of his skin, which is just pathetic, really.
I mean, we've seen this in Russia with Malcolm, didn't we? He was at Barcelona, his first game, they protested when he was coming off the bench, and that's
the club whose fans wrote to the chairman and said no more ethnic minorities in the team, no more gays, and no more, I can't remember the religious slur they used, but just disgusting, really. It's that's just these countries are obviously either, the people in these countries who support these teams are either ignorant, uneducated, or just plain stupid, really, that they can't really understand or comprehend things, after so many years. And society's multicultural now in most countries, and I think people need to get behind it. We embrace, in many ways. I know there's been issues over the last couple of years due to Brexit and other things, and certain press outlets debating certain members of the far right, but we embrace our multiculturalism. We always have. That's part of being in this country. It's multicultural. We've had the Windrush generation, and we had the people come over in the 70s, and now Eastern Europeans. We embrace it. You look at the England youth teams. There's a lot of different names in there. There's Polish lads. There's Polish surnames. So we embrace it, and I think other countries should get with the times and embrace it as well. Really,
it's something that there needs to be a stand taken, and it needs to be now. And I'm fining them €23,000 as an organisation is nothing. It's ridiculous. We said Nicholas Bentner was fined more for wearing Paddy Power bills, so absolute nonsense, and it needs to be taken seriously, and it needs to be stamped out. It's as simple as that. Black them out
on telly. Fans can't watch them on telly. Black them out in the stadium so no one can go and watch it. Empty stadium, black them out on telly, and kick them out of competitions. So that's where it hurts then.
That's the only way you can do it, is the blanket ban. But onto the football side of things, England obviously lost to Czech Republic.
Andrew Czech scored, yeah.
Michael Kean.
The confidence was drained in it again.
Didn't cover himself in glory. Harry Maguire can consider himself a very lucky young man to still be involved.
He plays for Manchester United. That's the main thing, isn't it? That's the thrust of it.
No, it is. But
that's the press difference.
At the end of the day, let's call it as it is. He's horrific as well.
They're both bad, and at the end of the day, that's partly Gareth Southgate's fault. You look at Everton, Meanan and Keane are both similar type of defenders. I think Means is better, of course, but they need a certain type of partner next to them, and then you put Maguire, who's a stopper, next to Keane, who's a stopper, and again you have that same issue. And Gomez should have played, or Tyrone Mings was a bit more mobile as well. You're setting people up to fail, but I think Michael Keane has regressed to his unfortunate, Sam Allardyce, Ronald Koeman performances again. It's sad to see, I guess, because he was really solid last season, solid to good, I'd say. And yeah, I think he's going to be in the next England squad, to be honest with you, because that's like 3 games on the bounce that he struggled.
Yeah, I think he's going to struggle, but England lost that and then obviously returned. With a 6-0 victory the other night. Good for Jordan Pickford to keep a clean sheet, and that made a good save early on. And like I say, and I thought Ross Barkley done all right. So I thought his second goal he took really well. They had a good run into the box.
I enjoyed the celebration. He gave it to the fans. Ross has had unfortunate things off the sun before as well about about his, but it's hinged with racism, shall we say? So he obviously was give it back to the fans, which at the end of the day, I don't appreciate what Ross Barkley did. Leaving the way he did. His agent was heavily involved in that, but he's a good player at the end of the day, and he's doing all right for Chelsea as well. Yeah,
he is. Good win for England. Other Everton players involved.
Probably don't want to touch too much on Schenk, but that's...
No, I mean, obviously we saw...
Short-sighted.
Turkey played Albania on Friday.
Which is already testy, isn't it?
And won 1-0, and Cenk Tosun scored the goal, and then celebrated with a salute with a few other players, a military-type salute, which UEFA have said they're investigating.
Which because they're not allowed, blanket, not allowed, no matter what it is, yeah.
So obviously, they then played against France on Monday night, and Cenk come off the bench, and Turkey equalised within 15 seconds, I think, of him coming onto the pitch. He didn't set the goal up or anything, but they scored from a set piece, and they all, 6 or 7 of them, although I don't think the goal scorer did the salute.
No.
Now, I'm not going to jump in the middle of this because I don't know what is going on with Turkish feelings. It's a different country. It's there. They could have family members in the military. Whatever. Obviously, what is happening is horrific. It shouldn't be happening. And I'm not defending or anything like that. Of course, that needs to be stopped. But I think players need to potentially, high-profile players and players who play around Europe in particular need to be very careful with this kind of thing. UEFA allegedly are investigating it. We know sometimes what UEFA's investigations are like. We saw this earlier this week, St. Pauli in Germany,
Cenk Satin was
Cenk Sahin, they released from his contract because he'd liked the photograph, hadn't he, or commented on it. Whatever.
Yeah, I suppose there's a fine line for clubs because obviously the player is under contract with the club. There's morality clauses, and I'm getting a lot of contracts now as well. You've got to be careful because political leaders can ruin people's careers in a sense. And Cenk Tosun, I don't understand his reasons behind it, but obviously there's an ill feeling towards what Turkey are doing. So you've got to, as a player, you've got to weigh it up. Erdogan, who's the the Turkish president's well known for using players who are both Turkish and of Turkish descent, Mesut Ozil, to promote himself. And players need to be wise. And I doubt Everton are going to probably do anything. I don't imagine. But maybe they need to wise them up and say you need to be. And maybe he'll say it's patriotic and whatever, and that's up to him. But I've seen a couple of people compare it to James McLean, and that's much different. James McLean's saying he's not wearing a poppy because he doesn't believe in the reasons. And I don't support James McLean. That's his decision. But he's not overtly celebrating what wearing the poppy doesn't mean. He's just saying he won't wear it. Whereas Cenk's actually, it's not. I don't even mean to incite things, but it does incite things because of what it represents. So you've got to be very careful how you do political things. I'm all for players being forward thinking and outspoken, especially Raheem Sterling's been amazing the last couple of years with that. But it depends what the cause is. Really, sometimes you can't with politics. It's very dangerous to get involved in.
Yeah, like you say, I don't really want to dwell too much on it, but obviously there'll be, I don't know what Everton could do. Maybe just have a word with him. Apparently he's got a groin injury now and he's going to be out for 2 weeks according to the Turkish media, so that might be good timing on his behalf, really.
It cools it down, takes him out of the firing line, doesn't it? Yeah.
And I suppose, at the end of the day, that any conflict shouldn't be happening in 2019, in my opinion. Shouldn't be war anywhere. So, hopefully that'll stop as well, because we've seen far too much of these horrible images over the last few days. Children, we've got no say in being dragged into these kind of things. Of course, it's horrific. So let's move on from that. But from a pure professional outlook, good for Tosun that he got himself a goal. It's 5 in 5
against Moldova.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's still scoring goals from his perspective.
I agree. It does give you confidence.
Harry Kane's just scored against Bulgaria.
No, and I'm not going to praise Harry Kane because he's not playing well at all for the last, I think, about 6 or 7 months. Really, if I'm honest. The way I look at with the international football is it doesn't really correlate to what club football is like. So it's hard for me to say, Cenk Tosun scoring here against these teams. Moldova aren't a championship team, they're not, you know what I mean? And people criticise dominance. There's a balance here that you've got to consider. But it's good for him as confidence-wise because he isn't looking at Everton. And maybe Marco's been slightly short-sighted and not giving him opportunities, I'd say. I'm not saying he does fit the system and all, he doesn't. But, if he plays a goal scorer, then you should try and fit him in the system, I guess, sometimes. So,
I mean, listen, I think we all know, and he knows that his time at Everton is coming.
He probably should have left in the summer,
It's coming soon. I think he'll go in January, to be honest. I think he'll want to be out.
He's a Turkish hero, isn't he?
He'll want to be out of there.
It's when you get a fee for him, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. There was interest from a Qatari club, wasn't it, El Ghaffara, before the window shut there, and he wanted to stay if he got his chance at Everton. It's not forthcoming, so I think he'll be on his way in January. Another one of those players who's struggling for confidence and not playing well is Seamus Coleman, who was sent off for the second time in his last 3 games. This time for the Republic of Ireland.
Very Kevin Nolan-esque.
Yeah.
Fancy's holding.
Sent off against Switzerland for the Republic of Ireland. Not having a great time at the moment, is he?
It's decision making, isn't it, really? And he's not having a great time at all. And It's like very much, without the sendings off, like the start of last season when he couldn't get really into, and then second half of the season he seemed to find form again. But then again, is it going to be one of those now for the rest of his career? His career sort of changed on the back of that injury, didn't it? It's never quite been the same consistently since that injury. And I suppose Everton are moving in a different direction now, or aim to, maybe under this manager or the next manager possibly, that they need something different at right back than Seamus. And I think the club are probably going to start looking at candidates. And I'm not saying Seamus will go in this summer, but you've got John Joe Kenny there, and I'm sure they want to bring in, if John Joe Kenny is the future at Everton, they'll also want to bring another right back in over Coleman to sort of push John Joe Kenny, or John Joe Kenny has to push them. I don't know. I don't see Sidibe and Seamus Coleman being the two right backs going into next season, but put it that way. I don't think we'll release Coleman. I think he'll still be at the club as maybe a backup or whatever, but who knows? I think there's got to be a plan now of succession for Coleman that we haven't had in the past, really. If you look at Distan, played in far too long. Howard played in far too long. Baines, we got Dean, but that was probably still a season, so too late.
2 seasons too long.
And this is why now Seamus is 30, 31. I think it's time to sort of start looking to bring in that successor now.
Yeah, I think he should be around the squad.
Yes, he's been a great servant for Everton.
I think we do need to start shaping the way we're going. We need to mirror Luca Dean on the right hand side, basically. Yeah. And when this kind of happens with players, you see decision making starting to change. It's just, listen, it could simply be he's just not found his form this season. But then again, we're not doing him any favours by continually playing him either. So it's, obviously Saturday, Jibril Sidibe will probably play. And that's his opportunity.
Will he play Mason Holgate? I think he'll play Sidibe, don't be wrong, but I was thinking today, will he play Holgate?
Why would he play Holgate?
Defensively better. And that's Marco's. This is a whole different subject, but Marco plays, there's a lot of fear. Yes, because he's a centre back who plays right back. So yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
I'd like to see Sidibe, because I think is going forward play. He'd help us break teams down better, but.
Yeah,
it's Marco, really.
It's going to be an interesting one. Another player with mixed things this season is Moise Kean. Went away with Italy under 21s last week, was sent off within a few minutes of coming on, not long after he come on. Petulant, I suppose, really, and something he's got to get out of his game.
I don't think it was a red card. Yeah, he shouldn't have done it. That's the problem, you see, that you're giving the ref a decision to make, and then,
frustration, isn't it? There's a little bit of
carrying over from Everton, really.
That's it.
And also, he's gone from being potentially the next star of the Italy team to being to most of the under-21s, because Mancini thinks he's doing him a favour by putting him down there with Zaniolo. And I don't know, I think the last since the summer, it's not really gone right for Moise, and I think that's partly Everton, because of the way he's not being used, or the way he's been utilised at Everton. And obviously, Italy have tried to. I think Italy have overthought the process with them trying to psychologically develop in a sense by demoting him. But I don't know. I think he'll be fine. I think he's the top. He's just been announced as one of the top 20 Golden Boy, which is no mean feat if you look at the other players. There's no one turn your nose up in that group, and he is a talented player, and Everton needs to get the best out of him, get his confidence firing again.
How do we get the best out of him?
Play to his strengths. Drop the 10, or play a different 10 who moves away. You've got to create space for him, because he wants to drop in, collect the ball and run at players, or he wants to run off the front.
He wants the ball to feet. He wants to stretch the pitch.
Playing 30-yard balls to his chest is just not his game, and people go, he can't hold the ball up. He doesn't want to hold the ball up. Everton need to think of, Firmino, when for Liverpool or Aguero, they might hold the ball up. I'm using for people who can't see, the speech marks. They want the ball to feet. They don't want to try and catch it on the chest and head it down. They want it to feet and turn. They want it on the half turn. And Everton don't play like that, because it's very rigid and stale at the moment. And the player, it's. This is what Marco Silva, maybe I think it's too late, but it was a time a couple of weeks ago when he could have changed it and really freshened things up, and and help these players out. Even Gylfi Sigurdsson, he probably could have helped, and Richarlison, who's again another player who's probably not been wasted. I think, we're just not making the best of these players, and I think that's where Marcel Brands has to look at things, really, in that sense, because he's bought these players, and someone has to get the best out of them, play them how they're supposed to be used, and they're not.
No. On other internationals who played with Richarlison, like you just said, they've played a couple of games for Brazil and played up against. Neymar got injured against Nigeria, didn't he? Not his sister's birthday yet.
Right, okay.
He's saving that one till April. Richarlison played against the Wobie the other day. And,
Wobie played at 10.
Yeah, played at 10, done all right. Obviously, Yerry Mina played as well, another clean sheet for him.
Great. Even Sanchez are great together. That's how you look at Sanchez and Mina together, and people go, Sanchez is not good in the Premiership. I think he's a good young centre half still.
He's quick.
That's there you go. That balance there. You look at John Terry. Would John Terry have been a star if he played next to Michael Keane? Probably not. He still would have been a great defender, but you've got to need that partner in Cavallo with that pace. Brought the best out of him. Yeah. And that's about balances and combinations and teams. It's the same when you look at Gylfi Sigurdsson. What would get the Gylfi Sigurdsson the best out of Gylfi? Someone who runs in behind, not Dominic Calvert-Lewin who comes short all the time. But
he's played at Moise Kean, who runs in behind.
No, he has. No, I agree. I'm not trying to defend Gylfi, but I'm saying that's the idea of trying to get the best out of him.
That's why I think, from an Everton perspective, and we'll talk about this in a bit, is a Wobie in the 10, because he does make runs and he does thread the balls through. Just on Gylfi before we finish, missed the penalty against Andorra the other night at the post as well.
Oh, back to that, is he?
Just not having a great time either.
No, he isn't, and I think at times last season he wasn't out fit again for Everton, but then he scores them goals and you think, how can you take that out the side? Because without those 13 goals, where would Everton be? And this season when they're not scoring goals, that's what I'm saying. This season when the goals are not there, and people go, he's creating loads of chances. Yeah, he's great. He's one of the best set piece takers in the world. I'm going to say he is. He's really good dead ball. He is, because look how many chances we created from set pieces from him. But then you go on the flip side in open play. Yeah, he just creates some chances, but how often is he involved in build-up? How often does he help us break down a side? And that's the balance. And people go, well, he plays 4-4-2 for Iceland. Iceland play a low block. He'd be fantastic 4-4-2 for Burnley in centre midfield, but Everton don't play that way. It's completely different. This is exactly why I say international football correlation to club football is completely different.
Slower anyway.
It's much slower. And Iceland play the Burnley way, and we don't. So that would not be a fit in the slightest, because Everton need runners from midfield, which we'll get onto a bit later when I talk about Brands and how there's some summer transfer window and how what he is thinking behind it was. But yeah, that's exactly why. So yeah, Gylfi not having a great time of it. Is anyone having a great time of it?
Ronaldo.
Well, Tom Davies as well, actually. Before we move on to Ronaldo, Tom Davies.
Another
great performance in the centre of the park, and obviously the manager said he doesn't see him there.
Captain again, last 2 games for England.
Whether people like Tom Davies or not, and obviously Everton fans in general, and a lot of fans around the world only see young players' flaws when they come through the academy. He passes the ball forward, he runs into the box. It's something we haven't had all season, and you just give him a chance, and he's never going to get better if he never plays. No. It's only going to be the same, And one day he'll leave, and maybe he'll never be like a top 6 player or whatever. But I'm sure he'll make a career for himself in the Premier League. He's a good player, and I think other clubs look at him and think he's a good player.
He is a good player. I still think he'll. He's
intelligent player.
He'll make
it
with Everton.
And do you know what I have to say? I really praise him. That mental health thing that he did last week was absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant.
And he's a great ambassador for the club as well. And people think, he's not your typical football. I like that though.
It's better that he's not better. I hate typical footballers,
exactly.
To be honest. But I think he's fantastic, and I think he will. I think he will make it in Everton's first team. I just think we have to trust him a bit more and get him in. I think he's more of an old-fashioned midfielder player, and what I mean by that is he can do more than one job. Me and Ped were talking about this. There's a great tendency now for some managers to just pigeonhole players and want you to be a defensive midfielder, or you are an 8, or you're a 10. You can't do anything else. Well, no, actually, the best teams midfield players can do it all.
Yeah, they can, yeah.
And Tom Davies for me can do it all. But is he consistent? No. Does he give the ball away sometimes cheaply? Yes.
Would he ever get consistent without playing?
That's the way it is. It's football, isn't it? And Tom Davies is one of them. If he played for Leicester, people would be fawning all over him. And some Everton fans would want us to buy him.
Yeah.
Because that's football.
But to be honest, Dave, coming through the youth ranks, Tom Davies is much more talented than Hamza Chowdhury by miles. I know there's different types of players, but Hamza Chowdhury gets a lot of praise. He's a good player, don't be wrong, but Tom Davies has got a much higher potential level, but we just don't play him, and he'll never get better unless we play him. So that's.
And listen, some people might evidently be right. He might never become the player that I hope he does for Everton, but
you've got to give him a chance.
But he's still a good footballer, and without the chance, we're never going to know.
And would you rather see him try and pass the ball forward or Morgan Schneiderlin? You know what I mean?
100%. Just before we finish part 1, Cristiano Ronaldo, goal number 700 of his career.
Amazing for the second best player in the world, isn't it?
Not bad.
I know that's going to upset some people because I know there's a Ronaldo and a Messi camp, but Ronaldo's superb. He's trying to catch Ali. I think he's on 95 goals, and Ali Dyer, who was played, I think, briefly for Bayern Munich and played obviously for Iran, scored 109 goals. Okay. So he's on the... And I think Sergio Ramos also got his 167th cap this weekend as well. So they're great players. And I remember England could never get over 100. Now everyone gets over 100 caps, don't they? So, but yeah, Ronaldo,
what a player,
unbelievable. And let's be honest here, if there was no Messi, Ronaldo would be considered by far and wide the greatest player who ever lived. That's how far he's coming. And don't be wrong, I love Johan Cruyff, but it wasn't in my time. And Pele was obviously a great player, and Maradona was outrageous, probably the most talented footballer. Maybe didn't have the mentality to be consistently the greatest ever, but it's a great time to live in when you've got Ronaldo and Messi in the same era, pushing one another. And I think Ronaldo will never rest unless he beats Messi, really, and that's what he says. I think he wants the Ballon d'Or, doesn't he?
That's the thing, isn't it? And that keeps them going and keeps them both going. And we had that thing the other week where they were sat together and the mates now and this, that and the other, because they push each rivalry, other. They push each other, and when and he said that, Ronaldo said, without him, I wouldn't be here, and without me, he wouldn't be here, because
Messi's got the God-given talent, hasn't he? And Ronaldo's obviously got God-given talent as well, but Ronaldo pushes it.
Yeah.
Ronaldo is a perfect athlete,
specimen, and showing you that why are you slowing down?
And maybe Messi worked harder than he normally would have to because of Ronaldo, and it's made him a better player.
Fair play.
What a great time to watch football.
Exactly. Right, that's the end of part 1 on the Toffee TV podcast. After a break, we're going to be talking about Marcel Brands.
Thanks for downloading the Toffee TV podcast, but did you know we put all our shows out as podcasts? Head over to patreon.com/Toffee TV EFC and you'll find all the latest shows available as podcasts exclusively for Patreon subscribers. So if you need to find all the latest ever news, conversations, stats, match previews and match reviews as easily downloadable podcasts at your convenience, head over to Patreon.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Toffee TV podcast. Me and Andy going to be discussing Marcel Brands. Listen, at times like this, rather, in football clubs, and particularly our football club, when things aren't going right, the scrutiny is cranked up. People get much more angry. People get, want to look at everything. Rumours come out, WhatsApp messages go around of blag fights and Krakens living in the dock and all sorts of things happening. Dan Mice being a Liverpool agent, special agent, and designing some Meccano thing that's never going to work, and all of these kind of conspiracy theories come out, don't they? But everything is scrutinised massively. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on the manager.
Rightly so.
It's a results game, so that he's got to accept that. And we had this poor run last season, so I think when people see managers having a poor run 2 years on the run, it raises alarm bells. But another fella who's had the spotlight put on him, and I suppose rightly so as well, is Marcel Brands.
Yeah, it's really so. Yeah, I can understand certain points of view.
Certainly, he's. I like him. I think he knows his job. I think he's well respected. I think he'll sort Everton out. I think it was never, ever a 12-month job for him. There was a lot of nonsense that's gone on at our football club off the pitch in terms of how we've been run and players brought in for the wrong reasons and different things. And he wants to try and correct all of that. He wants to try and sort out of an ethos throughout the playing side of the club. He wants to sort out the academy side of it. But first and foremost, the first team was the most pressing.
That's what keeps you in the job, isn't it? You can't go, I'll leave the first team and I'll look at the academy for the next 5 years. You can lose your job, aren't you?
It's top down, isn't it? You have to look at, which probably isn't the way he might have wanted to do it in an ideal world. But he's come in, and I think he's made big improvements. Has he been perfect? No, of course he hasn't.
Whoever is.
Well, I mean, what's your take on
well,
Marcel?
I'm a big fan of Brands. I think people know that, and I'm an arch defender of him because I think there's obviously an ocean with Everton fans, and certainly I've been guilty of myself in the past where when it goes wrong, there's a blame game. And obviously Marcel Brands has taken the brunt of the main game, and obviously people don't want to go too hard on the manager, so obviously they go, well, the manager didn't get this and the manager didn't get that, which we'll obviously get into in a minute. But I look at what Everton. So people go, we spent 500 million, we're the biggest spenders in the last 5, and I go, well, it's two different projects entirely. Yeah, right, there you go. Yeah, so it's two completely different projects. You look at the Walsh and Koeman, who just bought players who they like the look of and the name of, and they didn't fit any particular style. They didn't fit anything. Now you've got Brands, and you look at the play. You know, we've gone from buying players from Swansea, Sunderland, Burnley, to buying players, and people come to rejects. But hold on a second, there's an ethos. These clubs from Arsenal, Barcelona, Juventus, these players are coming with a winning ethos and a winning mentality, and that I think we've looked at it, and when you buy players from those smaller clubs, some players do turn out great because we've seen it with other clubs, but they've also come with a mentality that you can play one couple of good games in another. You know, they're coming from a mentality where they don't have to win every game, and that there's a difference with that. And I think that's what Marcel Brands is trying to do. He's trying to change the culture at Everton through his signings, and he's trying to help Marco Silva. Now, people will go to me, he didn't get a centre back, which, yes, in hindsight, that is a big anchor around his neck. Now, there's different rumours, there's different, tidbits that have gone around to say that Marco Silva wanted Kurt Zouma until very late in the window. Now, I can imagine that, because if I'm a manager and my job's on the line, I don't want to try and bed a centre-back in for another 4 months. I want Kurt Zouma, who helped me last season immensely towards the end.
Knows how you play, knows how you
and then people, and so if you say he did want him until very late in the window, which I believe he probably did, Brands has got a tough job then, because you've got to balance it, because Brands might say, well, what about, we'll use an example, say Tomori was available in the summer for a buy. What about Tomori? And he goes, well, the manager goes, but Kurt Zouma's still available, and I want Kurt Zouma. Marcel Brands then can't go out and sign a Tomori or an Ndicka from Eintracht Frankfurt or someone from France and say, Marco, where's your centre-back? Because that's not how it works. There has to be an agreement between the both of them. For Brands' side, he has to, when a player's signed, he has to believe the manager's going to play him. Otherwise, you're buying a player who's going to sit on the bench, who's devalued straight away. So Marcel Brands' his idea at Everton, his philosophy, is to buy players who only go up in value, except, of course, your Fabian Delphs and your Lossels, who, Lossels there as a backup keeper. Fabian Delph is there to provide experience, only cost 8 million. It's a different type of transfer. Yeah. But on the whole, it's to boost the transfer coffers continue, so Everton can spend money year after year after year, and not have to lay out, basically net spend and, whatever. But that's the philosophy, and that's where when people go, well, he should have been like the man who took control and said that, but he can't force a manager to play a player.
I suppose the problem with that, there's two schools of thought with that, really, isn't it? Because you've got people, I've heard people talking about Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola in terms of not getting players not getting a position filled because they couldn't get the player they wanted. And people have praised them for that because they wanted the man and he didn't get it, and he stuck to the guns. Why get someone who doesn't? And so that argument falls down then if you're saying, well, what can Brands do? Because Marco Silva just wanted Kurt Zouma. He might have offered him Samari, who plays in France, who's quick and strong and big, who might have come, or whoever. You said Diakate, or there's a few, wasn't there? Somebody we were at, Llorente as well. Plays in Spain, but the manager doesn't want them. What's the point? Then the flip side to that, and I know this is one that Ped comes down on, is but Marcel Brands is there to oversee the whole club. Marco Silva mightn't be here if we don't get the right results. So why are we being dictated to by a coach who mightn't be here? And I guess the balance of that is trying to be somewhere in the middle. So trying to get a player you both want. Now, now Kurt Zouma, according to many sources, was still a possibility 72 hours before the window shut. So if you're Marco Silva, you're thinking, and Kurt Zouma's talking to you.
Which the agents are always in contact.
Michael Keane's come out and said him and Zouma were talking about someone.
Yeah, we do. That's these players to contact players.
Right. So if he's going, I'm still hopeful I can sign for you by Thursday. Then the manager wants
he's the number one target.
Then Tomori was offered and Everton wanted him.
Which you can see why now,
And Arsenal sell David Luiz, and both of them are off the table. Chelsea, sorry.
What a great move, keeping Tomori and selling David Luiz to sink your rivals.
Well, there you go. So straight away, them two are off the table, and you're left scrapping around for Chris Smalling on loan.
It would have been okay,
I think it'd have been alright.
He actually would have suited play next to one of these two.
and Rojo,
which is Marco. That's a Marco Silva trust thing because he knows him from his time at Sport.
So I don't think neither of us were over enamoured on deadline day when we were.
I'd say it was a loan. It was a body, weren't it?
It was a body. So there is that issue. So Brands would have to defend that. I don't know what side of the fence he'd come down on that. He might say, well...
It's a balancing act, though, isn't it? It's the same where people go, we should have bought a proven striker. Why are we trying to rely on Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Moise Kean?
Do you not buy into that fact, though, that there was a...
It just depends what...
Or do you think he would have played Will Shahar through the middle?
Depends what hat you put on, though, because if I put on my hat of a fan, then yes, I do exactly so. But if I go trying to think like Marcel Brands, whose his actual job it is, whose reputation's on the line, there's fine. We've got... So someone said to me, Liverpool have got 4 strikers. They included the wingers the other day, and I was like, well, the wingers, but whatever. But Everton have got Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
They've got Moise Kean. They've got Cenk Tosun, Oumar Niasse, and Leo Walcott, who can all play centre forward, and probably Richarlison. So you've got 6 players who can play centre forward, right? 2 of them players they tried to get rid of in the summer and they couldn't. So there's a financial burden that you can't get rid of. So we can't go, all right, I'll go and get Olivier Giroud, because that's 150 grand a week that we need to balance on the books then. And that's where people...
And we're close on FFP if we haven't.
It's the football. It's a football manager thing. You know, there's an understanding. You've got to understand in football. You need to balance the books. You know, it's very easy to go, right, we need a striker, go out and sign the striker, but that's not an easy decision. You need to go and balance the books. And then on the flip side of that, you've got brought in Moise Kean, Mino Raiola, one of those powerful agents in Wales football. You said to Mino, he's going to play, he's going to develop you. Now, we're not saying you're going to start every game, because, of course, the manager can't do that because he's got Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And also, we've committed to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Whether this is right or wrong, by the way, again, that's the club's choice, and Marcel Brands and Marco Silva's choice. But it's very hard to bring in another striker in that situation, because you're going to have Raiola saying, well, why have you brought him to the club and he's not playing minutes? You're going to have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's not going to get games and develop them, so we'll see where he is. And then you've got Cenk and Niasse in the reserves. Then essentially, this is where fans need to sort of put the thinking hats on, rather than thinking like, we just need that player, we need to get it.
Oh, but from a fan's perspective, though,
yeah, you got to get it.
You're looking at the team. You're looking at, I think the biggest misnomer for a lot of people is fans don't understand football.
I don't think they don't understand.
I think that, to me, there's an aspect of some people that mightn't understand it as well as others. But I think a lot of fans are very knowledgeable. I think we've all watched enough football to know a good player when we see one, to know whether one's got enough. It's not even... You see, the thing with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, right? Let's say Dom, because Dom splits opinion.
He does.
Right? And his performance at Burnley was nothing short of atrocious, by the way, for an Everton centre forward. 25% pass completion.
Yeah,
won about 2 aerial duels, so...
And that's what he was in the game for.
Wasn't in the game, didn't put himself about. An absolutely shocking performance for the centre forward. Right? If Oumar Niasse had put that in, people would have destroyed him.
Yeah, of course he was.
Right? But the thing with Dominic Calvert-Lewin is, just because his performances are a little bit inconsistent, some people go, he's crap, he's never going to do it. There's the other side who protect him no matter what. Doesn't get the right service, doesn't get this. Now, there's an element of that, but there's also an element of if I'm playing up front for the football side and they're not giving me the right service, how can I get myself into the game?
Yeah.
What can I do myself? What am I going to contribute? What am I going to contribute to this game? I remember my dad saying to me when I was a kid, if you're not scoring, I used to score goals and think it was enough. I remember being pulled aside when I was at Everton and think, what are you doing when you're not scoring goals then? Right? Are you contributing to the team? Don't walk around the pitch and stick your foot on a ball that's going in and think you've done your job, right? And I think against Burnley, Dom did that. Other times he's done that. He's not done anything in the game. He's not worked to get himself in the game. Now that might be a management directive, might be, because I think, ironically, he worked much harder 18 months ago than he does now when he plays.
Yeah, he does.
Put himself about him as everywhere now. And it will be coaching that they've said to him, do it in these areas. But you're taking away from what he wants to produce.
Game,
But I still think he's a good player. I still think he should be in Everton squad. Can he be top level? I don't know.
He might be an option off the bench. That's maybe his career, but that's good.
He might force his way in when he improves.
So I think he's going to have a good career, a decent career. I'm not saying he's going to be the best striker in England. He's probably not. Maybe he will be, but you've got to give him the best chance to develop. And this is where the divide comes. The fans' expectations and the fans' patience with what actually Everton brought in Marcel Brands. So Marcel Brands at PSV took 3 years before things started to click. Now, No, in the Premier League, that's a much different sort of timescale because the Dutch League doesn't have the financial implications of not doing well that the Dutch League does. Oh, sorry, the Premier League does. But so, in terms of Brands has got a plan, and he looks at it short, medium, and long term. Now, this season, looking at the team, let's be honest, we thought they'd be good enough to 7th at worst, 8th, maybe even worst. You know, at worst, we're talking here, possibly top 6.
Good enough to be in the top 6.
On paper, definitely. There's obviously we'll get to the manager in a minute in terms of fit for Marcel Brands, what he's looking to do, but I don't think we've got a bad squad. I don't think he's bought a bad squad. And people go, he's lost. We haven't signed any goals. And Richarlison was Silversan. Listen, Richarlison never would have signed for Everton, and Marcel Brands didn't like him. So people can say, oh, they like the Silver brought him to Everton. Yes, he was a major factor in it. But Marcel Brands has watched him for 3 or 4 years beforehand, so they both liked him.
He tried to get him for PSV.
Exactly.
Before
so
got him.
You look at. I like the squad that Brands has built, and I can see what he's trying to do. You look in the summer, you looked at the team last season, again, similar to this season actually, because I don't still think they're being used, but you had a Wobie, who had the pace, the power, creativity from midfield or even from the wing. You know, you added Gabam and Forge to replace Gay, which now, that's another thing, because you watch Gay being outrageous for Paris Saint-Germain because he's just a good player, and then you watch Delphin Schneider and every weekend. It is sticky side, done it, but Gabaman's injured and Gomez, they're 2 players who you expect to provide you with an athletic midfield. You can't just sign. I know we looked at Decore. I don't know if that was true or not, and how true it was.
No, it was true, but they didn't want to sell him.
And we probably do need an athletic number 8, and you know, if you're going to play that, I'd play a Wobie for now or whatever. But this is the... And I think I can see Brands' plan. I can see his transfer plan. He's having players in good one-on-ones. A Wobie can dribble. Gabaman loves to attack the space. Gomez, when he's on form, can attack the space and dribble. And this is what Everton we've been missing for a long time. Since maybe Barkley left, really. But the manager's not doing it. The manager's not putting that together, and that's the issue. I can see Marcel Brands' plan. I don't see it being happening on the field, and I think Moise Kean would score goals with the right serves. If he was played in the right manner, I think he'd score goals from. Now, would he score 15 this season? Maybe not, because it's his first season. Between him and Dom, I'd expect at least 12, 15 goals between them this season, in the league solely. And that'd be enough if your wingers, like Richarlison, who's clinically wasted on the right, is a right winger when he's actually a right winger. He's a forward who can play on the right or centre or left centre, you know, whatever. I think if you got the best style of players and we were using them correctly of how the vision was supposed to be, you know, Marcel Brands' vision comes to fruition, I think then we get the best out of them, but they're not. So I understand what's being built, I just don't see it on the pitch, and I think that's partly the manager. Now, yes, the manager will say, I didn't get me centre half. Drop those 2 5 yards back then. Don't play a high line. You've got to adjust to what you have, and this is what the best managers do. I don't want to get into another... We're talking about Marcel Brands, so I don't want to go too far on Silver, but this is where the process needs to marry, and this is what people understand, that Marcel Brands is going to be here for a long time. He's building the club ethos, the philosophy, setting it forward, and like other clubs around Europe, and like with, you know, Watford is a small example. They just get a coach in who fits what their ethos is. They don't go outside of that, and they just continually turn over, and Watford finishing mid-table is great for them. That's what they want. But Everton, what Marcel Brands is there to do is stop the Koeman situation ever happening again. Is not have this turnover where you're going to go, every manager wants something different, and there's no correlation, and basically you sign 5 players one summer, and next season you've got to sign 10 and get rid of the 5 that you signed last summer, and that's why he's here. And what people need to understand
is why we were in the mess with him,
and that's why it needs to be a partnership between the manager and the coach. So if the manager says, I won't care to me, he can't go out and sign a player the manager won't use, because it's not going to work. No, that's not to absolve him, because I've still got issues with Brands, because I'm waiting. I'm not saying he's done a terrible job in terms of the academy, but I'm waiting for him to take control of the academy. I still don't see his fingerprints.
I believe
he's implementing things.
I believe he is, and I believe, you know, Paddy Boylan done a bit on.
He did already,
the other week. And
just see it though. Just see it.
But how long are you gonna see it? What do you want to see? He's got rid of.
I want to see.
He's streamlined a lot of the stuff that was going on there. He's only been in the job 15 months.
Maybe I'm asking too much.
I think you're looking too much. I think by next summer you'll see even bigger impacts of it. I understand what you're saying, and one thing I find is a bit mad is that the style of play. But although I believe every team's now playing 4-2-3-1 in the academy, which is
it's that's fine. The formation's fine. It's the style of play, and
it's the personnel. I've said this as well. It's the personnel. You can play 4-2-3-1 if you're too dynamic.
Yeah.
Not too crap.
Well, you can see some, you know, I'm not saying Norwich are a good team because they're fairly open at the back, but they stretch teams all over the place because they move off the ball and we don't.
Well, that's the thing, isn't
and
it?
You know, they move teams around, we don't, and that's. partly a manager philosophy, and maybe, and he's had 14 months in the job now. It's we hope we'll move on from that, but the manager thing is really key with Brands, and this is why I think that he needs to employ his own man when it comes to the time, because Marcel Brands wants to build the academy up, so that involves bringing players up from the academy to the first team. Marco Silva hasn't given anyone a debut.
That only works if they're good enough.
Correct, but hold on a second. You've got Tom Davies.
What are we? Are we a development club, or are we a team that wants to be challenging?
You can do both, though, because you've got to trust young players. Need the manager who trusts them, and this manager, unfortunately, I think is scarred by what happened at Watford, maybe, and also holding the fact that he went down because he doesn't want to lose too many games, so he tends to rely on experience. Whereas clubs that do it the best, I know people go, well, Man City don't, but Man City's in a very different situation. They have to win things every season, whereas we're trying to build, and until we can build from our academy, which is going to be, that's what Brands did at PSV. Basically every other year you replace first teamers coming out with good quality. And you look at Anthony Gordon, you can't tell me that where he looks like now, that in a couple of years, if developed properly, he couldn't be a first team player. But will he be developed properly?
Well, we won't know, will we?
He's not going to. And basically, at the moment, he's doing a lot of off the cuff stuff. It's not a system that helps him. So when he steps to the first team, it's that's no correlation.
But if they're playing, well, he's playing wide though, isn't he? So it means that he'll play wide for us if he comes in. Of course. I think players like Anthony Gordon, you need them to have that little bit of a free spirit.
Oh, no, I'm fine with that.
Because if they're playing within a framework, he'll stop doing the things he's good at. And I think this is one of the problems young players have. I've seen it with John Joe Kenny. What I've seen of him and Tom to another extreme. What they're good at and what gets them into the first team, they then get in the first team and after do what the first team manager wants them to do, which is not necessarily what their game's about. John Joe Kenny seems to be doing really well at Schalke. David Wagner, obviously seen him in the first block of games he had in Everton's first team and thought, well, he looks good doing that, and he's got him and put him in their team. Now his MO really playing for Schalke is to bomb down the wing and throw the ball in the box, and that's what he did for the 23s. He was, when me and Ped went to see him, we were like, he's ready. Look at him here. Look at how good he is. Trent Alexander-Arnold on the other side. They were both similar. One has just won a European Cup.
One can't defend.
And the other one, and he can't defend, but he's very good going the other way. And the other one now has had to go on loan to Schalke to get games. And Tom Davies bounced around the pitch at 23s. Level looked head and shoulders, worlds apart from anyone else. Gets in the first team and has had to, because of Koeman, I think this isn't all on Silva, by the way.
No, it's not.
He got in and was playing with that free spirit, Tom, and hence why you're seeing the goal against Man City. You're seeing him with some cracking through balls for Romelu Lukaku, Seamus playing his game, his normal game. He was everywhere. No one meant he has to play in the 10.
You're not in the corridor. You have to
the 6. He just got in midfield and was like, he's an all-round midfielder, and he played off the cuff. And then Koeman, instead of leaving him in the team the next season, dropped him and put Klassen in and brought in. And then he's had to play within himself ever since, because he's trying to do what the manager wants instead of going. Just go and do your normal thing. Go out there, be busy, get on the ball, do what you can. And our fans have got to help young players as well, as like not groan when you give the ball away and try to get behind and not write them off. And that'll be the same with Anthony Gordon. When Anthony Gordon gets his chance, if he comes on, skins a couple and has a shot and the crowd are up, don't then have a go with him when he tries to do the same thing and he loses the ball and he's having to run back.
No one's perfect.
Players have to be allowed to develop. We all want results. We all want instant results. We're especially Evertonians, I've said it a million times, we're like a coiled spring, and that coil gets tighter every year that goes by and we don't progress, because the need for it is now. It's now. It's not in 3 years or 5 years. And so that's why plans for managers to have that period of time don't really work. And I just think it's a difficult one. And with Brands, I know that we're going to do a video for Peyton and maybe bits of it or all of it will go out on YouTube eventually, but when we talk about his role, because we haven't really touched on it here. We've touched on about just the general outline, but we'll do a little bit more about what he can actually do. I mean, I know the pair of us have listened to Ora, who's at not Vita, Victor Ora, who's at Leeds, and other directors of football who do stuff. How how involved their role is and what it's about. And we want Marcel Brands to do that here, but just quickly, we'll go into more detail on the video, but just very quickly, just talk about the manager.
So just I'm going to go into it more, but like, you know, to expect the football model to work, and if they're going to be your overseer of a club and they're going to push your club on, they need someone to basically, you know, live their, you know, make their philosophy happen on the pitch. So Marcel Brands is buying young players. You need a manager who trusts and develop young players. I don't really see that with Marcus Silva, I'm going to be honest. I think he's possibly because of confidence, maybe. I think maybe if he was very secure in his job, maybe it'd be different. But you need someone to come in and say, and then you look at the style of players. Well, he's brought players in who are athletic, want to play a pace, want to get up and down the field. Everton this season are control side, he play really slow. It just doesn't matter.
Contradiction.
So you're buying players for a particular style and ethos, and on the pitch it's not working. That's not a manager that's going to work, and that's why I think when the next manager comes into the club, it has to be Brands' choice, because it's his reputation, it's his signings, and he needs someone who's going to make that work. We'll go into more detail on Patreon, but yeah.
Okay, leave it there then. Leave it there, Marcel Brands. Let's leave it there. Don't forget to check out that video if you're on Patreon, and look out for it on YouTube if it's on YouTube. End of the part 2. Ped's waving at me, but end of part 2.
He doesn't like me scratching things out with a pen.
Fair enough. Stop scratching things out with a pen.
I'm being professional.
Well, you're actually being very
unprofessional. Don't make me walk off.
You reckon the sound. Don't walk off, because then I'll be on my own. 2 of you will be in here and I'll be on my own. Listen, part 3, we're going to be previewing West Ham at home at the weekend.
Shut up.
Stay tuned.
Thanks for downloading the Toffee TV podcast, but did you know we put all our shows out as podcasts? Head over to patreon.com/Toffee TV EFC and you'll find all the latest shows available as podcasts exclusively for Patreon subscribers. So if you need to find all the latest Everton news, conversations, stats, match previews and match reviews as easily downloadable podcasts at your convenience, head over to Patreon.
Welcome back to part 3 of the Toffee TV podcast. Me and Andy on to West Ham United at home.
This episode's directed by Steven Pedberg.
He is sat over there like the grump. He's full on Grinch, and he's gone the Grinch.
Well, I'll touch the desk now. But yeah, West Ham. I've got in capitals down here, shit. So yeah, West Ham.
I mean,
another explicit warning coming.
Explicit warning on from Andy dropping S-bombs. West Ham at the weekend. Normally, a fixture that Everton like.
Love it.
Everton have beaten West Ham more than any other Premier League club.
And we used to have Romelu Lukaku, who used to destroy them game in, game out.
Game in, every single game, like 10 games on the spin or something he scored against them. Beat us at Goodison 3-1 last year, which was a bit of a nightmare game unless you are Joe, who loves Jargolenko, who is bound to score now because I've just called him Jargolenko. Yeah. But I mean, West Ham at home. I mean, Ped again fuming because Andy's messing. Stop making noise. West Ham at home at the weekend, and normally and before, even if you disregard the Man City game at home, before the Sheffield United debacle, this is a game you'd have looked at and gone, we'll beat these no problem because we're strong at home. This, that and the other. They're very much a team like Everton, West Ham. They've got some good players. I actually think we're better than them, but we're not showing it, so fair enough to them. But this is a game where these are going to come and play football. There's no blow block here. These are going to, although Rice will try, but they're going to come and play football. And I think this is a game that Everton can exploit their weaknesses by the gaps that they will leave in the team.
It is, yeah, and it should play into our hands. And I say should because that will get into what I worry about in a minute. But we should, Everton should find more joy on the wings, which obviously under Marcus Silva we like to get it wide and cross the ball. And I think West Ham play with Cresswell and Fredericks as the right and left back, of course. And I think they're not the most disciplined. They both like to get forward. Yeah. You watch West Ham, they both get forward. So we could have joy. And obviously Gylfi has now become this player who sits in that right channel and hopes to get the ball there. And if he plays, that's where he'll sit. And maybe we'll get some joy in this game. Maybe we shouldn't cross it because it's got Diop who's 6'4" and Ogbonna who's 6'3". So maybe, but again, they'll be exposed at times because West Ham do throw players forward. So it is a game that suits this Everton, even though we haven't been playing well. It's a game that we will have chance. I think we will have chances, and obviously it depends on us taking them. But yeah, it's a game that I feel slightly confident about. But then again, I've also got my hesitations because West Ham could exploit some things that we've got. You look at the way they play, and they've got players with pace in the side, and you've got Haller up front who they can get the ball to, and obviously Haller was linked with Everton in the summer, but yeah, and if I'm Manuel Pellegrini, do I look at Bournemouth, do I think are quite a similar side but less talented than West Ham? They're quite open, but they've got the ability to score goals, and I look at the way Bournemouth played against us, and I'm thinking Pellegrini goes, maybe we should just give Everton the ball and let them expose themselves to the back, and that's the worry with Everton now, because we're quite predictable. Managers who normally would fall into our trap, say, of playing a bit open, but I think maybe we keep it tight because we're away. Yeah, they'll shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, I mean, you never want to expose yourself at the back. That's one of the things.
Of
but
course,
I think,
yeah.
I think for us, we have to be on the front foot in this game. 600 passes to nobody isn't going to do anyone any favours.
It's the team selection, isn't it?
And it is the midfield for me. I mean, I've said it all season. It's a massive problem. He's picked the wrong midfield so often this season, particularly, in all fairness, once he lost Gomez. Delph and Schneiderlin played at Bournemouth. They were very poor, to say the least. Should never have been a partnership again for the remainder of the game. So, one or the other, and more often than not, Fabian Delph. Obviously, we're not sure at this stage whether Delph's going to be fit.
Of course, it's part of England.
Part of the England squad. Yeah, with a muscle injury. So hopefully he's fit. And it's about me. For me, it's having a mobile midfield. Bernardo be back in and playing off that left-hand side and really running at Fredericks, who does leave himself wide open. I think him and I think obviously Dean and Bernard can expose him massively down that side, the gaps that he leaves. And on the other side, obviously Sidibe I expect to play. And I think him and Richarlison can have lots and lots of joy against Darren Cresswell. Yeah, I think
Richarlison will actually help Sidibe's known for someone who gets forward well, but sometimes can leave himself exposed. But Richarlison this season's really worked hard off the ball. He's been good off the ball, so that'd help. And I think Sidibe will help us break West Ham down. He's better to cross to the ball, better pass to the ball and come. Maybe not hasn't got the same level of pace and dribbling, but he's no slouch. He's still quick himself. So
and he plays high up the pitch.
He plays out the pitch. Yeah,
he plays high. He's
not going to sit and just watch the ball go.
And so Delph's got a responsibility for me then for getting across, doing essentially what James McCarthy did in Roberto Martinez's first season, which was sit and get across and cover your fullbacks because you're mobile, and that's what we have to try to do. Obviously West Ham carry a big threat. Philippe Anderson I think is an excellent player. They've got Seb Haller who's an excellent player as well. 4 goals this season. So you look at them and think they're dangerous. He's got Lanzini, who I like it. He's a good player. Hot and cold he is, but he's a link man,
because they play like 4-3-3 / out of possession. When they're in possession, it's 4-1-4-1 with Noble. Obviously, gets further forward as well. They're you look at them with compared to Everton, they're a bit more mobile. They play a bit more mobile in the field. Obviously, they've got Frankenstein at defensive midfield, Declan Rice, but that's his job. That's what Everton should really be doing, is having one sitting and the rest of the attack, which is where West Ham are doing. I don't see why we couldn't do it, because I don't think Declan Rice is particularly is much better than Schneiderlin, let's be honest. Yeah. So, but this is the problem. We need to find a way to expose Declan Rice. We did last season. You look at the performance we had last season against them. We beat them 2-0.
2-0 at the City.
We came out lightning fast, press, win the ball back high up the pitch, cause them problems, score goals early, games put to bed. And we've not played like that since, really. Or maybe the Man United game, maybe. But that's what we need to do, really, because West Ham are not good when they go behind, another team struggles, and
we're not good when we go behind.
No, that's the big fear, isn't it? Because if you score away, the crowd's it's going to get. Let's be honest, it's going to get toxic, and that's the big fear at the moment.
I mean, are you buying into this? This will be Marco Silva's last game if Everton lose. Do you think that's a reality, or do you think he's got a little bit longer than that?
It depends on the man. There's two ways to look at this. It depends. If we play reasonably well but got beat, then maybe it's staying in his job. If we win and we don't play well, and it's like, I still think he's in trouble, because I think part of the whole thing is you've got to see a thread of hope for the future. And if it's, I know results matter most, but even so, if you're not seeing those threads, it just carries on to the next game.
No, you're right, but I think sometimes you can scrape a win.
You can,
and confidence. It can give you that belief of like, right, we go to Brighton. And if Everton win at the weekend, say it's the early game as well, don't forget. So if Everton win at 12:30 on Saturday, by 2:30 we're up to 10th or 11th in the Premier League with 2 points off 5th place.
Yeah.
People then start going, what crisis? Now, okay, by at 5 o'clock at night, when the other games are played, we might have dropped a couple of places, but we're still better positioned than we were. and we go to Brighton full of confidence, regardless of the result, because let's be honest, at half 3, regardless of the performance, by half 3 on Saturday, if we've won, you'll forget about what we won't, because we'll analyse it. But in
that's
general,
the problem for me.
But in general,
I'll take myself away from that. Yes, we would be.
You look and go, we've won the game.
Thank God for that. Yeah,
we haven't won since September the 1st.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In the Premier League, right? So we'll be looking and going 6 weeks without a win. Right, okay, we've won. We feel great. We've got the results. Right, let's work hard.
Week,
Brighton away next week. They'll be open because they play good football. We can go there, beat them. If we were to beat Brighton and West Ham,
yeah, we'd be top
then
6.
We'd certainly be knocking on the door, and everyone would be going, well, hang on. We've got Spurs at home. We've got Watford at home in the cup.
Which is a big
We've got
game.
Spurs at home who haven't won away since January.
No.
We've lost 19 games, Tottenham, in 2019, or 17 games rather, in the league in 2019.
That's a lot.
Which is a lot. So they're, at the moment, they're in a little bit of
existential crisis. Yeah.
So, who knows that? And then there's Norwich. And then there's
really open,
who we could beat. And then there's another team.
And then there's
Southampton.
in December, yeah.
There's Southampton. Yeah, but what I'm saying about these next games,
yeah,
so the
so
next
you
five
could knock
games,
on a couple of points, yeah.
Everton could take, I don't know, there's 15 points to play for.
10.
Everton could take 10 points.
Yeah.
We could be sat here with, 17 points, 9th, 10th, and 4, 5, 6 points off Europe, going into those games in December, but with a bit of confidence and a bit of momentum.
Yeah, we could.
And then I've got no fear about playing Arsenal and Chelsea at Goodison. Zero. Not worried about either of them at home at all. Not in the slightest. Liverpool and Anfield terrifies me no matter what we've got, because we're just the way we are. United away doesn't fill me with any fear. So when people go, got them games coming up, well, I'll be honest with you, one of them scares me. Yeah, Man City will scare you because they're Man City and they're brilliant. But Arsenal, Chelsea, United don't bother me.
It depends how the defence is playing at that point.
Honestly, they don't bother me in the slightest. The three of them, they're wide open. So I don't worry about any of them. I'm more worried about West Ham.
We are worried about West Ham. If I'm going to get more confidence about those games, I have to see the change. I'm not saying I expect us to come and play at Man City.
Hang on. We went to Cardiff. Right?
You have to look past the international break. Yeah, I agree.
We went on to Cardiff last year. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I know you.
Right? And we beat Cardiff 3-0. And we had Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, United, and Burnley with those 5 home games.
Rough, yeah.
Right? And everyone went, how many points? I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah.
We might have beat Cardiff. 3. How many points out of these next 5? People were putting 1. People were putting 3. We'll beat Burnley, no one else. We ended up with 13 points out of those 15 at Goodison. Right? We beat everybody. We cost Liverpool the league, as it happened, which was, the way it is. You've got to keep mentioning it because we get very little to mention. Yeah. We cost them a title. We took 13 points out of 15. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody.
No, they did.
Nobody, because don't forget, there was talk in that international break that the manager wouldn't be the manager when we went to Cardiff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
David Moise is ready in a team of, a coaching staff. He's getting the band back together. There was all of that bouncing around. And we went on a run which included the performance at West Ham, which I think was fantastic. And we won it. We should have won at Newcastle. We were 2 up and had a blip. We should have won at Fulham, but we didn't. But in general, we were quite strong. 8 clean sheets out of 10. No one saw it coming. No. So things can turn very quickly. I'm like you. I look at the squad and go, this squad is far too good to be where it is. It's definitely littered with quality. Doesn't matter if they don't show that quality, though, when they step out onto the pitch. Right? So that's what the manager's up against. I think if we lose at the weekend, I think he's gone. I'd be amazed, honestly, if Everton get beat by West Ham on Saturday.
It depends who's. I think Everton needs. I think Pedro said this morning.
It'll be 5 defeats on the run.
Yeah, I agree.
It'll be 6 defeats in 7 games.
Would you sack him straight after the game in that case, or would you wait till the next day?
It'd be Sunday, wouldn't it?
So, but then, do Everton have a replacement ready to go?
I don't know.
Now, we've seen reports that Man United, they haven't even played yet this weekend, and Allegri
allegedly is very close to joining.
Let's be honest, that'd be a great.
He's a fantastic manager.
He's a great tactician, but Everton need to be in that situation where
I might be scared if we play United and Allegri's in charge.
Oh yeah, he's a very smart man, but they're still lacking players. Whatever, West Ham, but. If we lose, I don't want him to go, wow, we're going to look for a manager now. And like Ped said it this morning on Radio City Talk, you don't want to be going, let's have David Unsworth for the next 5 weeks. And it all goes, it feels, and if Unsworth does badly, then it changes the complexion of the manager looking at him.
If there's anything in the story that he was given a number of games, which is nonsense, but if he was given a number of games, I'm not saying he wasn't, but I mean the idea of that is nonsense. If he was given a number of games to turn it round, then you would have thought that the club, because it's allegedly running better now, would be going, right, we're giving him 3 games. Say he doesn't turn it around in 3 games.
Well, touching base, yeah.
So you start to touch base. There's a manager out there who's the most decorated manager of the last probably 15 years now, who's available without a club. You go to him, he's available.
Arsene Wenger? Oh, no.
You've got Mourinho. Arsene Wenger's available. Or, and a lot of people won't like this, but David Moise is there as well. So there's managers who are unattached to clubs. So you could, rather than having to wait like we did last time, you could
there's better options at this point. Yeah.
Or you don't know. You might go and get someone who's in a club who goes, Mikel Arteta, just I'm throwing his name in there because he's been mentioned many times. You go to Arteta and go, we're offering you the job now, permanent manager, X amount of million a year, bring your own team, blah, 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 blah. And he could turn down to Pep and go, it's my ex-club. It's too good a job to turn down. They want me now, not in the summer, blah, blah, blah. And Everton might have to make that decision. It's a really tough one, but I just don't see any way how the manager can survive if we lose Saturday, because it'll be another. We haven't played anyone. If we'd have played 6 of the top 8, then fair enough. Koeman lost his job when we did play 6 of the top 8.
He kept his job after the international break for 1 game, and then he got binned, didn't he? Or 2 games.
2 games. So and one of them was Burnley and Brighton, wasn't it? And
very
similar. Just finally, then, before we wrap this up, let's move away from the manager very quickly. Your favourite West Ham memory of recent? I mean, it's not like it's a big iconic game, but what's one that sticks in your mind?
The Baines 2 free kicks one. That
one sticking in your mind.
Or Ronald Lukaku. I remember Zaha coming off the bench. We beat them 3. It was a 3-2, 3-1. There's a couple that stick in my mind, but basically because of the striking performances. Really, last season was pretty great to watch because Everton have not been rampant like that since maybe the Arsenal game. Yeah. So they're the memories. My most annoying memory, I guess, is Alan. I think it was 2007-8. Alan Pardew. They beat us 2-1 on a cold Tuesday night. Come out and said we give them a football lesson. I remember one of the worst games of football I've ever watched. The only lesson they taught us last night was how to be bad, and we played to their level. I'm not a big fan of Alan Pardew.
The parts.
Yeah, hard man. Yeah,
he's good with the dance. I mean, I like the fact he scored the winner against.
You'll never work in football.
Liverpool in a semi-final for Palace, and I like his dancing. To be that cringy and carry it off, I think takes something.
Yeah, it does.
5-0. Everton have put it out this morning. A 5-0 up with Radzinski against West Ham was quite good. Back in the days when we had Tommy Rad up front and Gravison and things like that. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Ped was mentioning the Kevin Campbell hat-trick. We beat him 6-0 near the end of the season with Walter Smith. Was another one as well. So
we've had a lot of joy.
We've had a lot of joy. Yeah.
Yakubu was it the which cup?
Well, he scored twice the Wednesday in the cup, and on the Saturday we beat them 2-0 twice on the run, 2-1 and 2-0. So
they're all the big
they have been a team that, in general, we've had good signs. And the worst one recently was the one we were 2 up in, and the Lukaku missed the pen, and Payet scored at the end. That's been the worst. That was the first time they'd won a Goodison for years and years
as well, isn't it?
Oh, nightmare! But the Oumar Niasse debut game, which still gives Ped.
Is that when he got off his wrist injury there for 6 weeks?
Come on, didn't he put him on and took Aaron Lennon off? He was owning Cresswell, and
good old Roberto.
We didn't have anyone down the right, and Cresswell set 2 of the goals up front. That's right.
Brown shoes clueless, isn't he?
There you go, big Bobby. Well, let's hope we can roll it back and hammer them, the Hammers, at Goodison. 12:30 on Saturday. Big thanks to Andy for joining me. Big thanks to Ped for not being asked.
And framing us properly.
And sitting there doing a bit of framing, doing a bit of moaning, and doing a bit of yawning is what I've seen. He's probably on the phone to Steve Hothersall now. Who knows? Big thanks for watching. Make sure you check out the Patreon video about Marcel Brands, because I know Andy is desperate to defend.
It's a podcast, you listen.
And they watch as well. So if you are a patron listening to it, then watch the video.
Heads to Michael.
If you are listening to the podcast and you want to sign up for Patreon, you can do that as well.
This podcast is Heaven's Gate. It's going to ruin Toffee TV. Because there's poor directing. He's gone over budget.
I'm going to end this now because Andy's just going rogue. See you later.
Bye.